Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back once again. My name is Jordan, also known as JMonster, although I suspect you knew that by now. And I've got another Reforged battle for you today. This is a 2 versus 2 river battle, which is not something that you see very often. I'm trying to get some new and interesting kind of... I want to say scenarios, but scenarios mean something quite specific in the context of Medieval 2. But I'm trying to get some new and fresh content for you guys to enjoy that's not just field battles. So today we're going to have a river battle, and then I'm going to work on getting a siege battle. I know many people want that. I've hosted a bunch of sieges over the last few days, and they have all panned out horrendously. So rest assured, I am working on it. If you guys have siege battles that you've done and you want to send them to me, please do. Actually, now that I think about it, I have an Edoras siege battle, which maybe we'll do that. But in any case, let's take a look at some of the army comps here, and we'll jump into the battle. Hope you guys enjoy it. The first army we're going to look at today is the Realm of Mirkwood, being commanded by yours truly. And I've got 3 units of Thierny Tower, 2 units of Hirial, and 2 units of Hethely Tower? I'm fairly certain I've got another one around here somewhere. Yes, I do. In fact, 2 units of Hethely Tower. 4 units of Thandra Mierin. A couple units of the Myther Elas Galad. And Ballista, because you can't have a river battle without an extremely drawn-out skirmishing siege. Or skirmishing phase where you trade artillery volleys, because that's just, it's wrong. It's against the law, and I don't want to get arrested. Over here we got the Iar Arthelion in Nanwaith, which is a real handful to say, let me tell you. And, yeah, they're super sexy. I love these guys. I don't know what your guys' opinion is on them, but I think they're a really strong unit. They're also anti-cavalry as well. And then finally, I got a couple units of the Hirilang. 2 units of Hirilang, and maybe I have, 2 units of Hirilang and Hirialth. And that does it for my army comp. So let's go ahead and move on now to my ally. That's going to be Cardolin. The forces of Cardolin being commanded by Apex Celtic. And he's got some Minas Girthan Spearmen. I think he's got like 3 or 4 units of the Minas Girthan Spearmen, a bunch of Minas Girthan Swordsmen. Wardens of Tirn Gorthad, which are... I love these guys. They look amazing. I think this unit was done by Carindol. And damn, did he do a good job on it. So hats off to you, my guy. But in a future patch, they are definitely going to be getting a nice little buff. And they're going to get a... it's like +5 morale to units within like 100 meters or something. So they're going to be a staple of the Cardolin army from here on out, which I don't usually like to do. I don't like to make units that are absolutely essential, but I think that a pike wall is basically how you're going to want to play Cardolin most of the time, because that's optimal. So I figured, what the hell, let's go for it. Let's really kick that up to 11. So a nice buff for that unit there. I got some Greenwatch Garrison Archers out in front, 2 units. A couple units of Minas Girthan Sharpshooters. I love these guys. Very sexy. Probably one of the coolest looking units in the game. They are very medieval looking. I don't know where the team got them or if they made them themselves, but yeah, they cool. Minotaur Roman Guardians as well. Greenwatch Garrison Footmen, because of course. And I think there's a unit of Dunedain Rangers around here, and there's some Dunedain Captains. And he's also got 2 pieces of artillery, 1 Ballista, 1 Trebuchet. Yeah, there's the Captains. They don't have their armor upgrade, unfortunately, but they're still sexy. We still love them. And then some Minas Girthan Spearmen. And that pretty well is the length and breadth of Cardolin's army. If there's some more hidden units somewhere, I'm sure we'll see them over the course of the battle. But in any case, let's go ahead and take a look at what Team Red is bringing to the battle today. The first red team army we're going to look at today is the forces of Gundabad, being commanded by Archaon the Never Chosen, which is a name that I highly, highly appreciate. He's got 1, 2, 3 units, actually just 2 units, I think, of the Guardians of Karn Doom. 1, 2 units of Blackwatch Legion, all of which have their armor upgrades, so they're going to be sporting that sexy black plate mail. Although plate mail isn't technically a thing. I know there's some history buff out there that's going to like strangle me in the comment section, but it's fine. It's plate mail. Get over it. Witchrealm Blackguard as well, and a unit of the Witchrealm Hammerguard. So some really strong elite cores here from Gundabad. A couple units of trolls as well. Really nice pushing army here, especially with the trolls in the Blackwatch Legion. And then a couple units of Witchrealm Pikemen out in front. And then, to top it all off, he's got a couple units of Barrow Wights, who are super nasty. In a choke point battle like this, Barrow Wights are going to be king. I also got a unit of Ballista as well, because of course. And then we move on to Isengard, his ally. This one being commanded by the Death Guy. He's got 1 unit of Warg Riders, 1 unit of Champions of the White Hand, a bunch of Uruk-hai infantry with their armor upgrades. Really, these guys are expecting some heavy choke point fighting, which is probably a good idea. Then we have the derpy trolls of the White Hand, whose model is obviously off. This is not how it's supposed to look It will get fixed at some point. I think they're using. I think it has something to do with using the skeleton from the Olokai units or something like that. So one of the other troll units, it kind of just got mixed up there in the files somehow. And so yeah, now they look a little bit weird. Like they're really trying to like puff out their chest. Like they've been working on those pecs and they want everyone to know about it. Yeah, that's the trolls of the white hand right now. Over here, got some Urukai crossbows, 2 inch Urukai crossbows, and the deadly, the famous, the extremely well done Isengard Ballista. Thank you, Crimson Behelite, for that. And then moving on over here, we got some Urukai pikemen. You guys have all seen the Urukai pikemen before, although it is worth noting, if you guys are new to the mod, it's a little addition, and this is one that I begged Crimson Behelite for. They have a variant of the helmet with the white hand on it, although it looks more like a white claw. It's only got about four fingers on it, but whatever, it still looks great. And then over here we got some Nausicaa, who are a sexy Berserker unit with less numbers than your average Isengard Berserker, but they've got way better armor values, and they hit harder too, so pretty damn nice. And that just about does it for the army comps. Let's go ahead, jump into the replay. Now, as you would expect, there is going to be a lot of artillery pew-pew, and that's pretty awesome, because we've really fortified this island out here in the center, and this is one of the reasons I like this map. It's not just like grinding through the water, no. There's a big island in the center, there's some room for maneuvering, and for pushing, and counter-pushing, and a little bit of lag there, and for getting like javelins and stuff in there. It just is a way better map than some of the other ones, like I believe the Bruinen has like one choke point like this, but it's just straight on through the water. Oh man, the ballistas on the other side are really doing a number on the trebuchets here. So 2 of them are going to fall in rapid succession, and that is a big loss for Apex Celtic. To have this trebuchet, which is very expensive, 1,000 gold, actually maybe even a little bit more at this point, have that go down that quickly, not fun. Is no bueno. Although luckily we still have our 2 ballista pieces, and one of the Isengard, damn that lag, one of the Isengard's artillery pieces is actually on fire at this point. So that's 1 out of 4 that's been destroyed. Ooh, that one almost caught itself on fire. I think it might have fried its own unit, which is really funny. And then over here I'm having some similar luck against the Angmar Ballista. I almost said the Chaos Ballista. Damn it, Archaon, you're really messing with my head here. Yeah, I managed to take down one of them. Looks like we got some hidden units here, some Snaga Stalkers, a couple units of them. And they're going to be forming part of the first wave. Actually got some Dunlanding Clansmen, which I think I missed as well. A couple units of Dunlanding Clansmen have already made the crossing here. I'm going to countercharge with my Thandra Miedin, who are a far superior unit, and they'll have no problem cutting their way through even the large numbers of the Dunlanding Clansmen. More and more of them pouring across the gap here. They're really just there to be kind of an annoyance and to keep us on our toes. So we can't have our skirmishing forces right out in front here to really hammer them as they come across, so it ends up being a good idea. But yeah, the Dunlanding Clansmen already not having a good time. More spearmen coming forward. Got a second company of my Thandra Miedin coming forward, just because these guys are getting surrounded quite badly, and that is no bueno. Something you always want to avoid is the elves, is getting yourself surrounded, and it's a bit of a challenge because of how low your numbers are. Looks really cool there though. Fighting, like heavy fighting in between this front line of defense here with the stakes. Both sides of spearmen really just giving it their all. The Dunlanding Clansmen are going to lose in that exchange. Meanwhile, over here, I've actually turned some of my archers onto this unit of pikemen as they move forward. I want to try and bleed them as much as we can, and I'm going to have a way better chance doing that against the pikemen than against, say, the Urukai infantry, who are quite heavily armored with a decent shield value. Popping on over to the other side. Oh no, the Snaga Stalkers have made it across. Ooh. I think that was a little bit of friendly fire there from the remaining Cardinal and Trebuchet. Yeah, blowing a big hole in my line of Thandra Miedin, and definitely did not thank my ally for that one. Snaga Stalkers making it over. Engaging with my Thandra Miedin, but this is really just their militia tier units, and we didn't want to have the main body of our army be engaged and start getting tired, so I figured it would be better to use my spearmen for this kind of thing. And they don't really have, well, they have a couple pushing units, but nothing major. So having my spearmen and using them for counter pushing was not necessarily a big concern of mine. So we got over here. I got some Snaga Stalkers, and I thought maybe they'd try and get around here and come after my ballista. So I think I start moving up a unit of my Hethely Tower to try and deal with that. But actually, they're just going to go for a complete surround here against my Thandra Miedin. But they're going to hold their ground quite nicely. Snaga Stalkers, even though they're fighting a spear unit, are actually going to take some pretty hefty damage here. Ooh, Dunlending Clansmen on the verge of breaking. Mythan Remiaden still holding their ground quite admirably. Cardalin has now moved in with one of their phalanx, and they're starting to give it to the Uruk-hai infantry, who are not having a good time. No, indeed, and the Uruk-hai pikemen took some pretty heavy losses as they came across the ford. More reinforcements, however, are on their way in the form of the Barrel Whites. Very sexy, and then a couple of nice pushing these units here in the form of the Blackwatch Legion, and then some Guardians of Karn Dûm to give everybody a little bit of extra morale, because that is what they do. Fighting is pretty furious so far. Ooh, what did they just hit? Oh, a nice shot there on the Champions of the White Hand. Well, it could have been better. I think they only fried about 2 of them. But still, the Stooge damage of the White Hand, we're not going to have to deal with. They're a very scary unit indeed, especially when we don't have a ton of anti-cavalry options, which, as you've noticed, we probably don't. We don't have any of our own cavalry. Isengard biding their time slowly. It looks like the Isengard Ballista has been mostly neutralized at this point, and I think I've done a number on the Ballista over here as well. I don't know what they're still firing at. Might be at my own Ballista, which I think is running out of ammunition at this point. But yeah, so we've managed to deal with their artillery pretty handily. Ooh, nasty. That was real close. But they've also managed to do a number on ours, so not having 3 trebuchets is not ideal. It would be way nicer if we had 3 of them, but for the time being, it's okay. Ooh, where's that going? Fried just one guy in the front. His Ballista's not looking like it's in good shape either. Ah, that dick. It's so annoying. I don't know why it does that. But yeah, the frontline engagement not going well for the attacking forces. Some of the Uruk-hai units are breaking. Got some Uruk-hai infantry fighting to the death. Uruk-hai pikemen not having a good time either. It's really going to be down to committing to this fight. They can't trickle in like this for too much longer because we're just going to be able to destroy their forces piecemeal. Guardians of Karn Dûm charging into the front of the Minas Tirith Spearmen and the Cardalin Footmen. That's going to be an easy fight, I think. The Pikes are going to have no problem keeping those units at bay. And without the support of the Blackwatch Legion, which is being committed elsewhere, they're not going to be able to push their way through. The Barrow Whites, though, this is going to be the big problem. Because the Barrow Whites are very well armored. They have a ton of shield value. Yeah, they're just a nasty unit all told. I think one of the Blackwatch Legion just took a big trebuchet hit to the face. But beating the Whites in close combat is not an easy task. It is nigh on impossible with their 3 HP and huge defensive stats. What you want to try and do is run them down with cavalry. Their stats as they are, I'm thinking that they might change, but cavalry is such a hard counter to them that it's kind of hard to figure out what to do with them exactly. But yeah, something will happen in the future. In any case, back to the battle. Ooh, another nice shot there from that trebuchet. Getting some of the Guardians of Karn Dûm there. Right, Uruk-hai infantry and more Guardians of Karn Dûm with some more Blackwatch Legion pushing their way across the river. Blackwatch Legion, unfortunately, are not in their shield wall formation, which is not going to... It's not a good thing. It really reduces their effectiveness as a pushing unit, which is what they are primarily designed as, when they're not using their shield wall formation. Yes, they have high mass and they can still push, but it's nowhere near as effective. It's not the best use of them right there. Ooh, another nasty shot by the trebuchet there into the front of the Blackwatch Legion. So really a lot of damage being done to the attackers as they push their way across the river. But look at this. Look at this glorious battle here on an island in the middle of the river. Angmar and Isengard are really committed to pushing their way across the river here. Uruk-hai units breaking in the face of essentially overwhelming odds. Trolls of the White Hands derping their way to the front lines with their ridiculous shoulders. They're going to hammer their way through that phalanx in a real big way, and I think there's some good and bad troll units on their way as well. You can see both the Trolls of Angmar and the good and bad trolls being committed on the left-hand side of the battle if you're from the perspective of the defenders. Got some Guardians of Karn Dûm over here, and I think this is where I start to move forward with some of my Mythard Elas Gallon. I've actually moved in with some reinforcements as well. Ooh, no, the Trolls of the White Hand charging right through that phalanx like it's not even there. Mythard Elas Gallon trying to put the hurt onto these Guardians of Karn Dûm, which they've successfully done. They're going to break and run. And there's a nice big juicy target over here, although a lot of Barrow White's going to be blocking blocking that missile damage. So I'm going to pull my 30 last gallon back, save them for another opportunity. My 30 last gallon over here, tossing their payload into the side of the Guardians of Kharn-Dûm. Well, some of them are anyway. Ooh, I hate that lag. But yeah, some of the units is obstructed, so we're not going to get the full force of that Javelin volley, but it is making a difference here. The Wardens of Tyr and Gothrad not having a good time, although with the support of my Javelins, things are starting to turn around a little bit. Ooh, nasty pushing units here, and it looks like these ones are in shield wall, possibly. Trolls here are going to just hammer their way through my remaining Thandra Miedin, who have held the line quite nicely, and the Wardens of Tyr and Gothrad, and of course my Hethli Tower in there as well. Barrow Wights, they're not going to have fun against the Pikes. The Pikes will keep them at bay basically all day, every day of the week. Warcry Infantry trying to muscle their way in there against the Pikemen. Probably not going to work as well as they wanted to. Meanwhile, behind the lines, these Trolls are causing all kinds of havoc, and we're doing our best to try and mitigate that. Dunedain Rangers have popped up over here. Now is a really good time to use those Dunedain Rangers, especially against the Pikemen or against the flank of these units over here. That would simply be devastating. But Isengard and Angmar are all in at this point. I think this is everything that they have except for some skirmish units and a couple of their cavalry. So this is everything that they got. And they've got a lot to push their way through. And I recognize this. I'm going to move in with a couple of units of reinforcements here too. My Hirdi Alf. Still got a fair amount of forces on the opposite bank that I'm holding in reserve for a rainy day. But yeah, for the time being, some of my heavy infantry is definitely needed to move forward here. My 30 last gallon doing their thing. I wonder where the other unit went off to. Oh yeah, they're still in reserve. Not really a great opportunity for them to do a whole lot right here without exposing themselves. Although I could bring them around on this side. Maybe that would be a good idea. Have them pew-pew the Witch Realm Hammer Guard. Definitely a solid plan. But, oops. I mean, there is some potential for that to go wrong. Especially if now with those crossbows coming across the field, that would be an easy thing for those crossbows to destroy my 30 last gallon in the space of about 3 or 4 volleys. Yeah, let's see what we got here. Witch Realm Hammer Guard really giving it to the defending forces here. It's like a slow pan across the battlefield here. Both sides really just stuck in. The defenders have committed more and more across the river, but it is worth mentioning that we do have a fair amount of reserves still left over at this point. So we're not too worried, although the percentage is extremely in our favor as well. So we have like a 30% lead, so we're not super concerned at this point. So we're kind of cruising and coasting a little bit. Here the Alth, along with the Dunedain captains, doing their best to shut down these trolls, which is it's a tall order, but these are the kind of units that would be able to do it with their high melee defense and their high attack. See in the back here, my 30 last gallon being accosted by one remaining derpy troll of Isengard. But now my 30 last gallon are going to commit to this, and they're going to drive him back, and that's going to be no problem. Moving on over here, my other unit, my 30 last gallon. Ah, damn that lag! I hate that stutter. My 30 last gallon moving forward, and exactly what I thought was going to happen. Getting beat down by the Uruk-hai crossbows. I think they're out of ammunition at this point. I tossed a lot of it into the Hammer Guard, did a fair amount of damage to them. But now with those Warg Riders coming, I decided that it would probably be a better idea for me to form a shield wall here. I'm actually going to use my second unit here of Hirdi Alf to try and plug up this breach in our lines. The Warg Riders don't have a lot of defense, so a spear unit coupled with a unit like the Hirdi Alf, they should be able to do okay, but they're actually being targeted down by the Isengard crossbows, so I'm not having a whole lot of fun here. I mean, I was having fun, but you know what I mean. Here the Alf doing their best. The Warg Riders have been cut down quite quickly. He went for my ballista, but my ballista was out of ammunition. But I kept it on the, the engines just so it would look like they weren't, so that you could potentially bait something like this. So the Warg Riders, instead of hammer and anviling our main line, they're going after a ballista that's not really worth anything at this point. So it ends up being a nice little mind game that has turned out quite well, if I do say so myself. 11 Warg Riders now. That threat is effectively neutralized. Meanwhile, the fight in the center, the Cardolan Phalanx is beginning to flag a little bit. Ooh, that's not a good idea. Against pikemen? Oh, I didn't realize that this happened. That's just suicide. And I think the Isengard player realizes this, so they're going to pull their champions of the White Hand out of there. It's a really dicey place for that unit to be. Oh, man. Oh, careful of those stakes. That would be really tragic. I've seen over here, Yalth, fresh from destroying those trolls, just kind of sitting there. I believe I actually pulled them back because, yeah, the fight here was definitely not going in our favor, and I didn't really want to throw good money after bad, if you catch my meaning. So yeah, I'm starting to pull back here some of my units, save what I can, and use the rest to hold the line. Witchhelm Hammerguard here fighting against my Hirialth. They've got really high damage, so it's enough to get through the large melee defense pool that the Hirialth have. But still, they're a pretty decent unit, and they'll definitely give as good as they get in this kind of exchange, especially against a weakened unit of Hammerguard. So they are actually inflicting some pretty serious casualties on those Hammerguard. About 2 of them died there just in the span of a few moments. Uruk-hai crossbows. Now that most of our skirmishing forces have been defeated or are driven out of ammunition, the Isengard player is feeling comfortable moving forward with these crossbow units, and I'm comfortable with him doing that too, because as you can see over here on the opposite bank, I have a couple hidden units of Thurney Tower, which he does not know about because they have not moved the entire game. Cardinal Trebuchet still doing its thing, trying to hit something. I don't really know what it's trying to do. But yeah, the fight out here on the island has been thoroughly lost and is very much in favor of Angmar. And a lot of that comes down to the Barrow Whites. And of course some nice play from the Isengard player here, coming in from the rear with the Champions of the White Hand. Nasty hammer and anvil charge. One more is going to be enough to see these Green Watch Garrison footmen off for good. I pull out at the last moment. Don't you know why? They're going to break anyway though, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, crossbows over on this side. Really giving it to the Green Watch Garrison footmen. Ooh, that's nasty. That's nasty. Again, shot in the rear from crossbows when you have no shield. It's not fun. Green Watch Garrison archers basically are broken, but they can't be bothered to save themselves, so they're just gonna stand here and die. And yeah, the attackers are thoroughly in control of the central island, and that's gonna come down to a more traditional river choke point battle over here on the opposite bank. Ah, that lag. It's driving me crazy. Can only imagine what it's doing to you. Trebuchet. Looking like it wants to get some final kills there. Green Watch Garrison archers getting quickly routed by the fear-causing Witchhelm Blackguard. Come on. Just one. Just one. Oh, someone's general just got sniped right there. That was beautiful. I think that was the Angmar general. That would make the most sense. Although many of the remaining Angmarim are actually lock morale. Ooh, damn that lag. That's so obnoxious. I think that's a hard drive thing. I think it might just be my hard drive having problems. Witchhelm Blackguards and the rest of the Angmar forces now wrenching themselves free of the remaining Cardolan units that are left on the island. And what do we got here? The Never Chosen being pew-pewed by my Witchhelm Hammerguard. My Thurney Tower have decided to play their hand. Actually, I think I got some of the crossbows over here as well. Yeah. Ah, that lag. You can see a lot of dead crossbows and stuff like that. Ooh, and that crossbow unit over here from the death guy. This is a great position for my units to be able to shoot. It's just beautiful enfilading fire. Another volley there. Can scythe its way through these units. I'm getting basically 3 units simultaneously, so that worked out really nicely for me. Now they're going to stop shooting and fade back into the shadows. Ooh. And that's pretty well going to be it for a while. As you can see, we've got a lot of time left over, and that's because there's a big gap between when the attackers decided that they wanted to push. They wanted us to come to them, but we didn't want to come to them. So eventually they kind of relented and came to our side of the river. So yeah, I'm going to make a bit of a cut here, and then I'll join you guys in just a few moments. Aha, and here we are. Out of the wreckage of that fight on that central island, you can see some of the Barrow Whites beginning to emerge. And one of our big reasons for not wanting to attack across the river, it was 2 things really. One, it was the amount of crossbows they had left, and 2, it was the Barrow Whites. If you don't have cavalry to deal with them, or a really nice high-tier unit, my elite bodyguard here, the Iara Thelon Nanwaith, they're good at fighting these guys. But most of our units definitely are not. To simulate being kind of ethereal and being hard to kill with arrows, Barrow Whites have 10 armor and 10 shield, and they've got 3 HP. So, and they're also AP. They've got 1 attack, but they are AP. So it just ends up being this huge grind that you can actually lose some elite units too. So yeah, very nasty. But their hard counter is cavalry. But since we didn't have any, we were definitely a little bit worried about that. And they've still got a fair amount of decent troops left. They got some Blackwatch Legion here. Actually a fair amount of Blackwatch Legion, about 30-ish, 35 or so Blackwatch Legion. Got some Witch Realm Blackguard, still very healthy, nearly full strength. Decent amount of crossbows, Witch Realm Hammer Guard, lots of pikes, more crossbows, and then of course Champions of the White Hand. Those guys get across the river and start hammering everything else like they did in the central, on the central island. Oh man, that would be ugly. The Champions of the White Hand, when charging from behind, especially, it's so nasty. It's so nasty. But yeah, they're slowly moseying their way across here. So let's go ahead and let's kick that into a full speed, because once they get to about the point of this rock here, the rest of the army starts to move across as well. Yeah, those Barrow Whites shambling their way across. If you guys are fans of Beginning of the End Times, this might be a little bit familiar to you, because actually we're using the animations. The team was kindly enough to let us borrow them. So yeah, these are basically Botet zombies, but kicked up to 12. A super Tarpei unit. Very, very scary. Also, you should see the way they hide. They kind of just like fall into the ground and then pop up when it's time. It's really cool. And there you have it. We're kind of, our plan here is to draw the Barrow Whites onto our side and not engage them at the river side, because we need to be able to surround them in order to be able to destroy them with most of our units. We've got a lot of our AP units over here, and I've still got a couple units of Huey Long in reserve. But yeah, so we definitely wanted to have them on our side and make them come to us, so that we could kind of dictate the terms of the engagement. So our Thelon Nunway moving forward, not getting their charge bonus off, unfortunately. But against the Barrow Whites, these guys are really, really strong. They are armor piercing and they've got good damage. Really good damage. Even so, full strength unit here against an understrength unit of Barrow Whites. You can see that it's not going great for them. A little bit of help here from the Minotaur Roman Guardians, however, pardon me, is going to make that a little bit more manageable. Even the Trebuchet crew are doing their best to drive back these abominations into the barrow from whence they came. The never chosen moving forward across the way here. Means Griffin Sharpshooters really laying into these guys. Hammer Guard and the Blackguard are the target for sure. Although I kind of screwed up. I kind of messed up with my ally a little bit here. That was very unfortunate. I got right in his way. While my Huey Long kind of charged into combat with those wicked custom Elven animations. And the Huey Long are going to do some serious work. Man, look at him. We just go to town on that guy. They attack really quickly with these custom animations. I quite enjoy it. Oh, one of them just got knocked down, kicked in the face. But still, the Whites are persevering. They're taking a lot of damage because of all the things arrayed against them, but you can really get a sense of how scary that unit is. My 30 last gallon with a little bit of extra ammo moving in. Over on the other side, however, this is victory for Angmar and Isengard. We don't have the same kind of heavy-hitting troops on the other side that we do on this one. Still got my 30 tower. Trying to pew-pew down, I believe, the crossbows. Yeah, the crossbows are a big problem. One of the things that you need to know about Medieval 2, if you are not already aware, is that units have a static ammo count. So it doesn't matter how small the unit is, it will always be able to use its max amount of ammunition that it would have if it was a full unit. So full units use the ammo faster, but the smaller a unit gets, the more time that it can fire for. So a crossbow can basically fire forever unless you completely destroy them or cut them down to like 7 men so that they're not a problem anymore. So yeah, we definitely wanted to deal with these guys as efficiently as we possibly could. Let's see what we got over here. My 30 last gallon, I'm being a little bit indecisive with them. I don't really know where I want to throw them. I think I also have my Tierney Tower over here firing into the rear of the Uruk pikemen. We're just trying to even out the fight on the right hand side, because on the left we are doing very, very well. But over here on the right, it's still victory for them. They're really pressing us quite hard, so I'm going to commit some of my archer units to the fray. My 30 last gallon now out of ammunition, so they're going to charge in as well. Uruk crossbows down to about as low as we could get them. Over here, the Whites have been completely surrounded, so we got this one in the bag. This part is under control, but on the other side, different story. So I'm rushing in some more troops over there, so getting some Ithyrni Tower in to complete this around them. Druidine Rangers pew-pewing at the Uruk-hai crossbows, but that's not really what Rangers are for. Now, they've got lower missile damage, about 5 missile damage. So, yeah. It's not going to be quite as effective against a unit like the Uruk-hai crossbows, who have like 9 armor. Nearly double the armor value of the attack value of the Rangers, so. But still, it's something. I think that they're out of ammunition now. Now, Celtic is going to commit them to the fray. That's basically going to be it. I think at this point we have it kind of in the bag, but you can really see that they evened out those percentages by a huge amount. I mean, at one point in the battle, we were 30-something% ahead of them, so you really got to hand it to the attacking team. They really had a strong showing here today in a fairly disadvantageous position, so hats off to them. Let's go ahead, put on 2 times speed. The Uruk-hai units are finally starting to lose ground, as just the amount of numbers that we can bring to bear against them and the remaining Witch Realm units are really starting to tell. Barrow Wights have been destroyed over on this end. For the most part, actually, they've been driven back to the water, but enough that I can pull out my Thelon Nanwyth, who have actually taken a decent amount of damage. They're a 2 HP unit, and they lost 10 of their men, so 'tis not small. It's about 20% of their effective combat strength. In a fight that was heavily in their favor because of the numbers. Throundwheel is still in there, though, leading there with his dual swords, holding them like an idiot. Yeah, my Palanskar are going to push right in there, really get up close and personal with the Whites and with the remaining Uruk-hai units. Meanwhile, what few Hirialth I still have remaining, and some of the elites from Gardaland as well, got some Dunai captains in there, pushing hard. And it looks like Angmar is actually going to admit defeat here. So the Whites don't normally break, but in this case they are going to. Are they armed with like pickaxes and lumber axes and stuff? That's weird. I kind of like to see an armored version of the Barrow Wights, just because they would have access to that. Just being in the barrows of some of the men of Numenor. They would definitely have access to some of the goods that were left behind for their trip to the afterlife. That's going to be basically it. Good and Bad has been defeated. Isengard has been defeated. And that's going to be the end of the replay. It ended up being closer than you would have expected, especially in the mid-game. Really, really fun game from my point of view. My opponents did really well. Celtic and I got a fair amount of kills, but they got less. But I mean, I was the elves, so they got a lot of kills on me, and most of my army was destroyed except for the units that I kept in reserve. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I know many of you wanted Mirkwood to have a win, so here's a Mirkwood win. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you join me for whatever comes next. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.